also asked that the noise levels remain low around schools all week, emphasizing the need to support students' well-being during this crucial time. And that was your news in 90 seconds.
Thank you very much for the news in 90 seconds, Biana.
Yes.
And we just want to stay on the topic concerning sandals, and it's very good news that we see that we had some sort of consensus from all stakeholders and parties involved.
Yes, Akinlabi, it's good to see that, everybody went in with fresh or what to say, I'm lost for words here this morning, but the idea of going into it with something new.
Yes. Yes, and it's good that they started on a clean slate, and
yes.
I know the Chief Secretary would have raised the issue of sandals making the investment themselves and not the government of Trinidad and Tobago, and we see the officials from Sandals indicating that they are willing to make the financial investment into the plant here
yes.
in Tobago. So all of this is good news, as well as we have a wide cross-section of stakeholders and interest groups sitting at the table and participating in the discussions, the initial discussions.
Yes, yes.
So we hope to see good things going forward. We know that they haven't made any concrete agreements just yet, but this is a good sign to come. So we really hope for the interest of Tobago's economy and for the interest of Trinidad and Tobago as well, that all parties involved, they'll be able to move this project forward and let us see the realization of the sandals and beaches here in Trinidad and Tobago.
That's so true.
All right, Biana, thank you very much for your time, and I wish that you have a very productive day. I know it's wet outside. You stay safe. Don't get wet in the rain. Don't pick up a cold or anything like that.
All right, safe day to you as well.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the morning, time for our birthday shout-outs. And our first birthday shout-out goes to Miss Alicia McFarlane. Happy birthday to you, Miss Alicia McFarlane. I know Miss McFarlane from secondary school, one of my schoolmates. Happy birthday to you. I know that the loved ones in your life are going to make sure that today is very, very, very special to you. And I wish you God's richest blessings and that He has His favor upon you for the next upcoming year of your life. Up next, we have our very own here at Tobago Updates, Miss Chanel Felix. Miss Felix is a well-loved member of staff here at Tobago Updates, and we wish her the happiest of birthdays. I know our producers will have something special for you planned, and I wish that you spend this with loved ones and you'll be showered with all sorts of wonderful gifts for the day. Happy birthday to you, Miss Felix. And if you have any birthdays or anniversaries or any special occasion, please send your information to info@tobagoupdates.com. All right, so heading into the discussions this morning, we have a number of persons coming in. And first up, we're going to have Mr. Curtis Williams, Chairman of the Tobago Division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce. And he is going to be speaking to us about the return of the sandals discussion. I know that Mr. Williams would have been sat in on the meetings yesterday. And after that, we have Mr. Vesta Patrick James, author, and he's going to talk about everything MENA. And finally, we have Mr. Mikhail Baines, Managing Partner of Anderson Trinidad and Tobago, and Mr. Kendall Robley, Managing Partner of Anderson Trinidad and Tobago, and they are going to talk to us about Level Up Business Workshop. So we have a number of interesting discussions coming up for this morning, but before we get into any conversations, we have to go and take a break. But up next, we have Mr. Curtis Williams, Chairman of the Tobago Division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce, talking about the return of the sandals discussions. He will be in studio with us at the other end of these messages. But before we go, do us a favor. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back after this break.
Welcome to the Buku Seafood and Jazz Festival on April 19th, 2025. We invite you to an evening of smooth rhythms and soulful music as the sun dips behind Buku Bay. Let all your senses be tantalized. Enjoy an array of seafood dishes, browse crafts and designs created by local artisans, and lose yourself in the soulful melodies of John Sakata, Brian McKnight, on at Bigford.
When the lightning crack the waters and the waves roll and break.
Mikal Tasia. And the best of Tobago's talent. Get your physical tickets now. Tickets are also available online at islandetickets.com. Visit TobagoFestivalsCommission.com for more info or call 639-4441. The Buku Seafood and Jazz Festival, April 19th at Buku Integrated Facility. Tobago Rhythm and Soul Festival 2025. Feel the beat. Embrace the calm.
TNTech is pleased to advise that its Roxborough Service Center has reopened. Starting Monday, 10th March, customers can once more visit the Roxborough Administrative Building to pay TNTech bills, request new connections, and more. TNTech, powering the nation into the next generation.
When the game is on, you don't want to miss the best moments. With AMPLIA TV, you can enjoy our ultimate sports package and watch your favorite games on the go. Stay connected and informed with sports news, scores, and stats with AMPLIA's fastest internet speeds. Up to 1 gigabyte fiber internet, you can stream riveting football action, cricket, NBA games, and much more. With AMPLIA, it's game on. Visit amplia.co.tt or call 800-4663. AMPLIA. Do more, live more.
Welcome to the launch of Tobago Fashion Coda 7. We are so happy to be here.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place.
Welcome back, viewers, and in studio we have the chairman of the Tobago division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce, Mr. Curtis Williams, and I know he's smiling on the inside. Mr. Williams is smiling on the inside. Welcome, Mr. Williams.
Welcome to your viewers and listeners on Tobago Updates. It's a pleasure being here.
Mr. Williams, let me get right into the issue. The Sanders discussion yesterday, from all reports from the Prime Minister, it seems as though it was a very positive conversation that was held by all, and it seems as though everybody's on board and looking and moving in the same direction.
Definitely. We felt that this meeting was a great meeting and it's a beginner of the discussion, and the presentation that Sanders showed us is a presentation that is, second to none. It's really amazing to see what Sanders, a Caribbean brand, is doing for the Caribbean, and it's a Caribbean brand, and I'm really happy. Everyone in that room was moved at the numbers as what they have done for Johnson, and it was just a very, very good, amazing meeting. Very, very amazing.
So just tell us, like, what was the feeling like? What was the energy like amongst all the members in the meeting after the presentation was made, after the resolution was signed? Just give us a little bit of insight into what the feedback and feeling like was like in the room.
Well, what I like is the Prime Minister did a preamble, and a preamble without Sanders. It was just we alone in the room, and he did a preamble, and the preamble, he gave us a look at what's happening around the world, and the effect of COVID and the effect of all the tariff that coming on. Mr. Trump has put some tariff on us, and then after that preamble, now we started discuss as to getting Sanders back to the table to have a conversation, a clean slate, and we're going to start a conversation with them, and from there now we will move into accepting them. If they do accept us again, then we will, they will put the proposal forward. So it was a real, very interesting. The mood in the room was very, very warm and welcome. from all parties. It's the first time I'm seeing the central government working with the THA and stakeholders. I was so pleased. I was moved. This is a really clean slate. And if this is the way how we're going to be doing things in Tobago, I think Tobago, you're in good hands. We are definitely in good hands.
That's good to hear. No, I know there was a number of burning issues in the last time that Sandals was invited to Trinidad and Tobago to view and see what investment opportunities there are. And there were a number of issues concerning the process, concerning who would be doing the investing, building the plant, and these kinds of things. And a number of those things were addressed in this initial meeting.
No, this meeting was more to tell Sanders, the executive, hey guys, we knew you were here before, and you left, and we just want to welcome you back. Clean slate. We're going to start from ground zero, and we're going to start the discussion. Will you come back?
Right.
And they give us the assurance, yes, they will come back, and then well, they left, and we'll come back with some proposal, and from there we will start to talk from there. The conversation starts from there.
Compared to the last time that Sandals was here, we've seen the involvement. Even though this is just the initial phase, the initial conversation, we saw the involvement of a number of Tobago stakeholder organizations and special interest groups and that kind of thing. Do you think that their involvement created a sense of greater transparency in the process moving forward?
Yeah, definitely. With the players around the table, the Fisher Folk were there, the Farmers Association, the two sets of Farmers Association, the Maxi Taxis Association. We see other stakeholders, the THA especially. The THA was there with the Chief Sec, the Secretary for Finance, the Secretary for Tourism. The tourism minister was there, and then we seen the different ministers, Tobago West, Tobago East, the minority. We even see the Mr. Duke. We see all Fisher Folk, and I mean that sends a good signal for Tobago, and I felt really comfortable representing the Tobago division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce. And we had our presence there. We had other business entities, and also we had the Hotel and Tourism Association. They were there as well.
Taxi
drivers, correct. And then we have the divers and some other stakeholders within the industry were there as well. And I think that sends a good signal for Tobago and working together. And if coming out of that meeting, as the Chief Sec indicated, Tobago is open for investment. Tobago is open for business. And it's not only Sanders. We're not only looking at Sanders. We're looking at other boutique type hotels or brand type hotels that may be willing to come to Tobago to do development. Because we spoke about other areas within Tobago that need to develop, whether it's in the east. Mm-hmm. And we said, okay, fine, boutique type hotels could fit there where there's a 50 room, 75 room boutique type hotel. And those are the things that I felt comfortable to know, and the government endorsed the Chief Sec. Not just only talk, he endorsed, the Prime Minister and his team endorsed the Chief Sec on development for Tobago. So tourism development. And so I'm happy about that. And I know we're going to have a good thing going forward. Definitely.
With Sanders showing some initial interest in Tobago, do you think that would heighten the interest of other hotel chains, seeing that such a world-class and well-recognized brand as Sandals is showing some interest in Tobago? Do you think that now it would pique the interest of other foreign investors in investing in some plants in Tobago?
Well, you would not believe that whilst we were there were folks texting other members, waiting to find out the outcome of that meeting so that they now would show an interest in coming to Tobago. So we expect some brands coming down. We had some interest will be shown to Tobago, and Tobago, you're definitely on the good path. If we continue, we know it's the silly season, is election, but I know nothing going to happen until after the 28th. So don't expect anything to happen before the 28th. Everything going to happen after the 28th. And Tobago, again, as it was stated, everybody going to be coming out a winner. We want the THA to be a winner. We want Sanders to be a winner, and we want the people of Tobago to be a winner. Most important, the people of Tobago. Any development that's happening in the space must include the people. And once we have the people in it, then we're good to go. Definitely.
So talk to us. I know the last time that Sanders was here, a number of concerns was raised about the model of hotel, which is the all-inclusive hotel, saying that they don't really give much opportunities for the local population in either higher ranking jobs or in terms of business opportunities. They tend to import everything. From the business chamber's perspective, what are the benefits of a chain like Sandals coming to Tobago in terms of business for Tobagonians?
Well, when we look at it from the presentation Sanders share with us, 50%, they indicated 50% of the plane actually goes to Sanders Hotel at the airlift, and the other 50% stays in the island. And that's a perfect example of what's happening in St. Vincent. And St. Vincent airlift was approximately 2 or 3 per week. Now it's gone to over 15. I think the numbers have kept increasing. So there's a lot of spill-off activities going to happen there. So don't only look at the part that benefits just the company, but the spin-off, the average Tobagonian will have to get himself in a state of readiness, the employment opportunities. Sanders work with the hotel school. Sanders will be working with the hotel school to develop the product, which is the person.
Right.
So they're going to be developing the person, individuals who have to work there. There's a whole trajectory of you working with Sanders and moving up that ladder, sending you to school, training you to become that perfect person with the customer service, etc. Sanders also indicated that they take care of the employees in terms of developing them and moving them from one stage to the next. And we were moved by that. I was also moved by the fact that the neighboring hotels and wherever we're going, because we don't know where we want to put this plant. It's
right.
just this, we know we're going to start the conversation.
Yes.
So the neighboring hotels across the island will have this spill-off, because not everybody will be going into Sanders that the airlift will bring. And when you have an airlift with an airport like what we have now, a new terminal building, and you have all that airlift coming into the space, it's going to definitely bring some kind of a trickle-down effect. And everyone will benefit. Every single person will benefit going down. And it's only 60,000 people here. I think we will have an extra 10,000 people coming on island, because you will see what Tobago have and the excitement Tobago brings to tourism, and move our numbers from where it is now about 30,000 visitors arrival per year. We may carry it right back up to over 100 and something thousand, even going up to 200, 300,000.
So I know that one of the complaints that people make over the years concerning doing business in Tobago, operating a business in Tobago, is that the population size is so small. And they have long argued that building the tourism industry allows for there to be a large transient population that could sort of satisfy the gap in the market for some of these businesses. Do you agree with that position?
But let's look at the facts. If Sanders come on board, or when Sanders come on board, and Marriott, which is another brand that is in the works as it is, we're talking about probably over 700 persons who need to be employed full-time. Full-time. Mm-hmm. We're looking at the type of jobs they will be having. And I don't think Tobago at this point now have 700 people waiting to be employed full-time. So we have to start probably moving people away from the THA. Those who have been doing morning jobs, we could tell them, listen to me, come, there's a career in hospitality, and we will train you, and we'll pay you well.
Yes.
So it won't be that mere, I don't know what the rate is, but bare minimum wage, no wage. And the kind of gratuity, I've worked in the hospitality industry for years. The kind of gratuity you can get, tips. I never used to touch my salary. I never touched my salary for years. That my tip was enough to pay my rent, support me for years.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, hospitality, as everybody may twist their nose and listen to me, I'm a product of hospitality, and I'm telling you, it's one of the best industry, because it's a tax-free, my tip, Remember, they're taxing my tip. So when you make, when you have a fixed salary, they're going to tax it. 25% gone, PYE. In the hospitality, your tip is sometimes, an average, $4,000 or $5,000 a month I could get in tip. And my tip used to be in US dollars.
Yeah.
So what you're telling me? You're telling me that's a rewarding career for me, and look at me today, I move all the way up until now. But it's important that we understand the fundamental. You just don't get there overnight. So we know that folks need to be trained, and Sanders is willing to do that. the THA is willing to open up the hotel school to bring folks in and get them at international level trained so that they could, prepare themselves for what is coming in the tourism sector.
And you spoke about Sandals and the other hotel chains that will be seeking workers. They will be looking out for employees. And you said that there may not be enough persons in the labor market right now who are waiting for employment in Tobago. And as such, you may have to take some from the THA or attract persons from the THA. And that might actually help address the issue, the long-running issue that persons have, that the THA is a bit top-heavy in terms of employing people. They're over-employed.
Correct.
So that may help that situation. But moving forward, if Sandal comes to Tobago, we know that plant may not be ready for 2-3 years down the line. I'm not sure how long it will take.
When Sandals comes.
When Sandals comes.
Yes.
So what is the Tobago Chamber, what is the Chamber doing to prepare not only their members, but prepare Tobagonians for the reality of a Sandals?
Well, as we speak, today we're going to have an AI conference in conjunction with the Division of Finance and VDU. That conference is sold out, and it's free, but it's sold out. So what we are trying to sensitize the business public, and not only our members, but the business public and on the whole, is that look what's coming in the space. AI is coming into the space, and how AI could affect your business going forward. We also stated that we at the TBAS, our new unit that we formed, Tobago Business Advisory Services, we will be there to put your business in a state of readiness, because with the advent of Sanders and the other chains or the other investment coming to the island, you need to get your business in some state of readiness to do business with these people. You need to have your basic onboarding, and you definitely need to get the things together. And we are there to assist you to put those stuff together, whether it's your accounts, whether it's your business plan. We are there to assist you and move you to that level. So with the small business you want to treat with. The big ones on them is probably taken care of. Yes. But the small businessman budding businessman who want to take his business to the next level, we at the Tobago Division and the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, we are willing to assist you through our programs, TBABs, and other programs that we will be offering. Most of the programs initially we start off, we are free. And if there's a cost, might be something minimum just to take care of housekeeping and etc. But we are willing to assist all business on the island going forward.
So somebody who hearing this now, how can they get onto the chamber to really
Sure, definitely
become a member and get into these training programs?
Right, we have our Facebook page. We also have our website, tobagochamber.org. You just log on, and from the website we'll guide you throughout the whole process of becoming a member, seeing the benefits of being a member, etc. going forward. You could also call our number 639-2669. 639-2669, and our office is in Answer McCall building on the second floor. You could come in and chat with our receptionist, and we will guide you through the whole process. It's not an expensive process, but it's a process of a lifetime. You will never forget the idea of you becoming a member of the Chamber, the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce. It's a huge organization, but in Tobago, we welcome you to come to the Tobago Division and be part of it.
Final topic of discussion I want us to have. Trinidad and Tobago has been going through a forex problem. A brand like Sandals and the other chains that Sandals will attract to the destination. How can you foresee those brands really impacting our forex issue in this country?
Well, of course, with the spin-off, and these folks will be spending US dollars. I don't think they come here. If you realize that most of the times when they travel, some folks don't go with anymore. A long time you started to change your currency to come to an island. No longer doing that. Come with your card and you just tap, and you go. I was last week in Miami, and the same thing. Nobody actually went into a salad store, and the young lady told me, "So we don't take cash." And that's what's happening now. So everyone is tap and go. So once you tap your international card, you have your account set up, and your credit card machine will take US and put it into your US account. And it's a simple process to set up with the banks. All the banks and them actually doing it: Scotiabank, RBC, Republic Bank, where you can tap and go, and you will get US coming into your account. So it's going to be a net inflow of US, and even in the construction phase, these people is going to bring their money to construct. Marriott indicated that. So you can imagine that US dollars coming into the market, the job opportunity, the flow of that cash moving around, where all the truck drivers and all the masons and all these guys who was unemployed or underemployed will now have some sort of employment in the construction phase. It's going to be booming. Tobago going to be on a real boom for the next 2 years. I seen it already. I get excited already yesterday. I was so excited. I left the meeting smiling and I went home. And today I'm going to meet with our executive members and we're going to talk about it. And the excitement going to flow throughout our organization, moving on to the rest of the business community and also Tobago. Tobago, I want to tell you that the game changer is here. Let's embrace the game changer. Don't fear of hotels. Don't fear of branding hotels. We need the branded hotels to bring the airlift into the country, because where airlift will be up, you will see visitors coming and we'll have 5-star, we'll have 4-star, and we may even have 6-star, because you never know, the luxury brands may decide to come.
Yes.
And don't be afraid of development. Let's just guide it, make sure the people is involved in it. That's the most important. The people must win. We cannot bring nothing to Tobago and we are losing. We must win. And that's what we're looking forward to.
All right, viewers, you heard it from Mr. Curtis Williams himself, chairman of the Tobago division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce. Tobago must win. We have to go for a break. We have to go for a break. But before we do us a favor. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back after these messages.
On the radio, seen her in your worship, and have sung her songs during your time of praise. Sinesh.
Everybody now, let's go.
Sinesh comes to Tobago for Melodies from Heaven on April 17th. The Shore Park Complex alights with praise and worship from 6 p.m. for Melodies from Heaven featuring Sinesh.
I shall not want. The Lord has provided.
Samuel Madas.
I can't be the only one who's excited to call your name.
Positive.
Me never could have changed my mind.
Blessed Messenger.
Give blood of Jesus over your family.
Renee Fortune and many more.
From my head to my feet.
Get your physical tickets now. Tickets are also available online at islandetickets.com. Visit TobagoFestivalsCommission.com for more info or call 639-4441. April 17th at Shore Park Complex. Melodies from Heaven. Tobago Rhythm and Soul Festival 2025. Feel the beat. Embrace the calm.
It's the premier red carpet extravaganza. Tobago Fashion Cuda is back with a bang, bringing with it quintessential style where runway meets rhythm. Come see the icons of Caribbean couture, showcasing the trailblazing fashions of Trinidad and Tobago. Tobago Fashion Cuda 7 promises an unforgettable experience on the 18th of April 2025 at Magdalena Grand Beach and Golf Resort, a premium all-inclusive fashion soiree where runway meets rhythm.
moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back, viewers, to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. And before we get into the conversation, we want to take you to our photo of the day. Our photo of the day is coming up right now. Wow, look at that. Look at that photo. That is absolutely beautiful. If you know where this is, where in Tobago this is, you can send in your answers to our Facebook and YouTube live chats. This is our photo of the day. Absolutely stunning. All right, so yes, and you just saw that video of positive affirmations, and the creator of that book is Mrs. Vesta Patrick James, author, and she's here to speak to us about everything Mina. Welcome, Mrs. Patrick James. Welcome.
Thank you, Akinlabi. Good morning, and good morning to your viewers. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so tell us about Everything Mina. Tell us what Everything Mina is about.
So Everything Mina is a business that I started in 2020 during the global pandemic. It was a time when I wanted an outlet to channel my creativity.
Yes.
And at that time, I had to find ways to teach and find resources to help my then 2-year-old daughter.
Right.
We were home during the global pandemic. You know, everybody was home. So I tried to find ways to entertain her. I started creating resources that I used for her. And then I realized that other persons, other parents, and other children can benefit from those products as well. So I started selling. I've sold, tried different products, but to date, our best sellers have been our coloring and activity books. So Everything Mina, there are two facets to it. Mina Makes, where we create educational resources for children,
yes,
such as our coloring and activity books, motivational stickers, motivational bookmarks. We basically try to help parents to motivate, empower, inspire, and educate their young ones. And then we have Mina Creators, which is another side of the business where I get to channel my creativity some more, where I create customized keepsakes, so such as tumblers, water bottles, customized journals, etc.
Okay, and I saw in the video you had a book called Positive Affirmations.
Yes.
That's one of your coloring books, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes. So Positive Affirmations is actually one of 4 books that I created. In 2021, I created 2 books. I Like to Eat, where I tried to help children get familiar with the foods that are good for them.
Yes.
Then I had Animals We Love, where I created stories with different types of animals. And the 3rd book that I created was a Positive Affirmations book, Positive Affirmations coloring book for children. And I also have an Island Adventures coloring and activity book for children.
And tell us, what was the inspiration behind the creation of the Positive Affirmations book?
Right. So positive affirmations are very important. They are basically simple I am statements that, when repeated and believed, it can help to enhance the confidence, self-confidence, self-esteem, self-worth, self-image, and just generally a positive mindset and outlook. It's important to start with children. So that's why I started with a coloring book for children, because I believe that when we empower children when they are young, they grow up to empower others. So if we affirm our children, for example, we tell them, I am strong, I am ambitious, I am caring, I care for myself and others, I am a child of God, right? We can allow them to imagine these things. It's just the same way when they keep hearing negative things, they tend to believe it and behave accordingly.
Yes.
But when we affirm them and they hear positive things consistently, then they embody what they hear and they believe it. So I started with this book for children because I believe that if we start them from young, they can grow up to be really empowered and confident human beings.
And I noticed that the books that you're writing, you said at the time you're then 2-year-old child. So your books are really targeted towards
yes. So our
very young children.
Yes. So our first 2 books were ages 2 to 4, but our positive affirmations book, which is what we're featuring today, and our Island Adventures activity book, they're for children 4 to 10, give or take 12.
Okay. And what has the feedback been like from parents and the general public on the offerings that you have?
So parents have been very impressed with the book. They have been supporting. So if I can give you a practical example, one mom who utilized this book for her toddler, right? She introduced the affirmations to her through this book. She shared with me that one day she was washing her daughter's hair and she was visibly tired and stressed. And that little girl turned to her and said, "Mommy, you are strong and courageous. You can do it." And she was so impressed. So that's just to show you the power of positive affirmations and the power of introducing it to students, not students, but children early, right? Also, our books are available on Amazon. We were able to spread these positive affirmations, not just with children in Trinidad and Tobago, but children in Grenada, St. Vincent, Jamaica, the United States and the United Kingdom.
Okay, and tell us what is the future plans for Everything Mina? I don't know if you all have online resources, if you want to create an app, that kind of thing.
Not as yet. We have not decided on whether we're going to create an app, but we will definitely be creating many, many more products, many more resources that can help parents, that can help children and educators as well. And of course, for our Mina Create side of the business, I just like to create. So we'll just be creating products.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Okay, and do you think about expanding beyond the 10-year age limit that you have right now? You think about going towards teenagers, maybe even young adults who probably now finding their footing?
Yes, definitely. And actually, there were adults who were asking for books and resources as well. So definitely, we'll be looking into that.
Okay, so if someone wants to really get onto you to get a hold of your books and your resources and from Mina Create and all these things, how can they do that?
So we have an Instagram presence at Mina Makes, MENAMAKES. We also have another page for our customized items, MENA.creates. Persons can view work that we've done already. We have our catalog that is in the works, in progress on everythingmina.com. And I really think that these books would be ideal. We have children, they're going off on Easter break at this time, and then they're heading into term 3, which is assessment term for promotion. And parents who may want to, build these children's self-confidence and their belief in their abilities and so forth, they can reach out to us. Our products are ideal for gifts, for birthdays, any occasion.
Okay, and is there anything else you want to mention about Everything Mina before we go?
So today we're focusing on the Positive Affirmations book, and I know that we have some students who are preparing for C exam on Thursday. So I just wanted to let these students know they have been preparing basically from since they started Infant 1.
You want to talk directly to them? You could
Yes, I will.
To this camera here.
Yes, I will. So they started preparing since Infant 1 with their phonics and their creative writing and their comprehension. But students, as you are preparing for your exam on Thursday, you're doing your final preparation, I just want to encourage you to do your best. You are not defined by the results of the exam. It's an exam, yes, you may be nervous, but you are not defined. Your worth is not defined by the results of the exam. It's just a reflection of your performance on that day, right? So students, I want to encourage you to do your best. Remember that you are capable, you are strong, you are resilient, you are brave. So go out there and do your best, because you are not given a spirit of fear, but one of power, love, and a sound mind. So all the best in your exam on Thursday.
All right, thank you very much, Mrs. Vesta Patrick James. And you heard that, I remember during my time during SCA, well, it was common entrance back then. Mm-hmm. It was very nerve-wracking, and it's very good to hear that you're giving them these positive affirmations to help them stay calm and to really remind them of their worth. Their worth is beyond the day of the exam. So thank you very much for that, Mrs. Patrick James.
Thank you for having me.
So viewers, we're going to go for a break, but before we go for a break, do us a favor. Share the live, share the live, share the live. When we come back, we'll have Mr. Mikhail Baines and Mr. Kendall Robley of Anderson, Trinidad and Tobago, talking about the Level Up Business Workshop. We'll be right back after these messages.
Want to get better? Where to start? What kind of exercise to do? What to eat? How to get restful sleep? Need a doctor to search for root cause? Look no further. Come to Majuba Hill Lifestyle Center Foundation at our Wellness Center in Goodwood, or Food Hub in Darrow Springs, Scarborough, or Doctor's Office in Goodwood and Darrow Springs. Contact 49 Swift 4979 438.
TNTech is pleased to advise that its Roxborough Service Center has reopened. Starting Monday, 10th March, customers can once more visit the Roxborough Administrative Building to pay TNTech bills, request new connections, and more. TNTech, powering the nation into the next generation.
Welcome to the Buku Seafood and Jazz Festival on April 19th, 2025. We invite you to an evening of smooth rhythms and soulful music as the sun dips behind Buku Bay. Let all your senses be tantalized. Enjoy an array of seafood dishes, browse crafts and designs created by local artisans, and lose yourself in the soulful melodies of John Sakata, Brian McKnight,
It's undeniable that we should be together.
Bonnet Bigford,
When the lightning crack the waters and the waves roll and break.
Mikal Teja,
Where else I go, without you, my side.
and the best of Tobago's talent. Get your physical tickets now. Tickets are also available online at islandetickets.com. Visit TobagoFestivalsCommission.com for more info or call 639-4441. The Buku Seafood and Jazz Festival, April 19th at Buku Integrated Facility. Tobago Rhythm and Soul Festival 2025. Feel the beat. Embrace the calm.
Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meats served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
Guys, there are some new developments in housing in Tobago, so it's goat racing time. This is 116, the show that keeps you in the know with all things Tobago House of Assembly. Each week, 116 delivers a fun and engaging overview of the latest developments, achievements, activities, and events of our dynamic assembly. So join me. Let's dive into the Tobago House of Assembly's Week in Review right here on 116.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning.
Welcome back, viewers, and we have in studio with us Mr. Mikhail Baines and Mr. Kendall Robley of Anderson, Trinidad and Tobago, and they are here to speak to us about Level Up Business Workshop. Welcome, gentlemen.
Welcome, Tobago. Welcome, viewers.
Okay, so Mr. Baines, tell us, what is the Level Up Business Workshop really about?
Well, to give you quite a backstory and really get into that, prior to being Anderson, Trinidad and Tobago, we were probably being tax and accounting. And, Kendall and myself being accountants, we had started that back in 2018. And in 2019, it had a tax amnesty. And being in the marketplace, we would have noticed that entrepreneurs and business owners didn't understand the importance of, financial statements and, taxation. So you would have started doing workshops here in Tobago, in Shore Park there, and that would have caught the eye of Anderson Global. And in 2020, they would have reached out to us to become a collaborating firm. So Robbie Baines, we were a collaborating firm with Anderson for like 3.5 years. And in 2023, after the COVID pandemic, we was able to go to some partner meetings, and the values of Anderson Global, it were aligned with us, and we decided to become a member firm. Actually, we're the first member firm of Anderson Global in the Caribbean.
Okay, so I'm assuming that Anderson Global is this worldwide accounting firm.
That is correct. Anderson is an international tax and accounting firm. We are in 179 countries. We have over 19,000 team partners, and we have over 500 offices. Anderson is named from the past, a firm for the future, and the core values. You're looking at best in class. You're looking at stewardship of our people, independence, seamless for it. We call it being global, and transparency.
Okay, so Anderson, Trinidad and Tobago, I am assuming that you all really have a focus on small and micro enterprises, helping them to navigate the taxation system.
Yeah. Over the last 6 years, we at Anderson Trinidad and Tobago, we have been focusing primarily on small to medium-sized businesses, and we help them more or less navigate through the technical matters within the business operational system, such as strategies, business development, product-based product development, and also the technical areas such as budgetary, tax, accounting, finance, business strategy, more or less. So Anderson is a shop design, accounting firm design rather, for entrepreneurs who are looking to develop their business, develop their processes, and really going from small, medium to large, right? Because we understand that businesses need professionals to guide them along the way. Some businesses might want to just provide them previous accounting firms and tax firms more or less look at entrepreneurs as, okay, we do the financial accounts and send them on the way, right? And while Mikel and myself decided to go into business, we understand that we don't want to be the run-of-the-mill accountants, right? We want to help our entrepreneurs and business persons who come to us to grow and develop their businesses in a real and significant way. We just don't want to just do the financial accounts, but really guide them from the ground up. All right?
Did you notice in Tobago there may have been a level of reluctance on small businesses' part to really pay for these services? They may have seen it as out of their reach.
Primarily in the past, what we would have seen, they were even willing to pay for it and say that the pricing was really, really low. Right? And it's an investment in themselves and an investment in their future. But what we observe in the Tobago market is just the organizational structure and the way they're structured. The businesses are not structured to moving on to the next generation. More or less, most of Tobago entrepreneurs, they are sole traders, majority of them. Yes. That's what we know we see in the marketplace.
So if they die, the business dies with them.
It dies with them. So no continuity. And the level up program is really designed to take them to the next level, right? Through generation 1, generation 2, generation 3. Because what we observe as well in Tobago marketplace, that they brought it up more or less, that majority of the strong businesses in Tobago, the entrepreneurs are aging and they're retiring. But none of the generations, nowadays generations, unable to take up the business or unwilling to take up the business enterprises. So we want to help them to understand tools and trade of doing that and transitioning through that period. So we'll have some level of discussion during the engagement on the training dates to speak to that. Yeah, I don't know if Mr. Baines would like to expound on it somewhat.
What we notice in the Tobago marketplace is that, the successful businesses, the new generation, younger generation, they don't want to get up from their parents. They see it as too much work.
Right.
The parents work. They want the fruits, but they don't want to be in the vineyard.
Right.
So, that's something that we have to work upon here in Tobago, and, that is, a part of the Level Up program. What we'll be diving into in the Level Up program is 4 pillars in which you use to scale your business. So you're looking at sales and distribution, you're looking at business strategy, you're looking at financial statements and taxation, and you're looking at talent acquisition and management. Being an international tax and accounting firm, and let it just be known that we'll call it the headquarters for Anderson, Trinidad and Tobago, is in Tobago here in
That's
Crown
good.
Point.
That's
So I
good.
just want the viewing public to know that. But being accountants, and we have clients that are local, regional, and international, we get to see what works and what doesn't work. And these 4 pillars, any successful business, they have that at their core. Kendall, you could expound on the 7 levels.
Yeah, so during the last 7 years, a lot of businesses would have come to us, right? And we have been championing. We are going to help you grow your business from small, medium to large, right? And I just mentioned, and Mr. Bean just mentioned likewise, strategy, sales innovation, product identification, market fit, and so on, right? What all does that mean to us? What do we do first, right? So the Level Up program would more or less give them a clear template of what steps that needs to be taken place, when they need to take place within the organization. The 7 steps that we look at more or less is customer acquisition. How do you acquire your first 20 clients, right? Look to document that system, right? Are you what goods and services that you have within your business, and are you delivering what you promised your clients? Because you don't want to promise a client something and you don't deliver it,
Yes.
right? So we look at that framework first, in the first quadrant of the Level Up program. Then the second level, we look to more or less automate that system. Once you effectively understand how do you achieve your clients and attain your clients, right? Now you're documenting that framework. When you document that framework, now you have what we call a flywheel approach, because now you're repeating it, rinse and repeat,
Yes.
and you would acquire a wide amount of client base within your organization. Right, so you don't want to just get a client and by fluke you don't even know how to repeat it.
Right.
And that we see in Tobago marketplace right now, that they have been in business for the last 5 years, but in the last 3 years, because of changes in pandemics and that sort of thing, they don't understand how do we reset the wheel.
Right.
Because it just was operating and by longevity, clients just coming into your door. But how do we restart it? Because they didn't have no clear guidance, no clear framework, how to manage the business, how to document the processes and so on. The third level that we would discuss in Level Up program is your people, your process, your systems, right? Because we understand and we identify here at Anderson that, listen, if you had to run your business and run it effectively and efficiently for the future, you have to take yourself out of the business itself, right? You have to step back from the operational, the tactical perspective and lead the strategic direction of your business.
Right.
You don't need to be in day-to-day management of your business. So we look at your people, right? Who are the key people within your organization? How are they trained? Are they developed? Right? Who needs to be taken to the position of supervisory manager position, so you can take the burden off of you to look at the strategic direction of the business, your processes, right? Your operational procedures and so on, your SOPs, standard operating procedures. We look at those things in great detail during the Level Up program. What operation systems I need to put in place within the organization to guide, lead it and develop for the future.
Right.
We also look at the system and the internal controls. What systems you have? IT information systems and so on. Cyber security is that level of things, because as you know, in the global world that we live in, cybersecurity becoming and AI technology becoming more or less the conversation of the day.
Yes.
How do you protect yourself against those things? And that once we identify all those 3 methodologies, then we would identify those entrepreneurs to be scalable, right?
Okay.
Being able to scale effectively and efficiently.
So just
right?
tell us, this workshop, it sounds like a lot. It sounds like a very enriching workshop that is going to take place.
It's packed.
Yes, it's packed with a lot of information. Just tell us, is this a free workshop? Does it have a cost? Just tell us.
Mr. Bean?
That's the information concerning the workshop. If somebody wants to get on to it, pay for it, that kind of thing.
So the investment is only $700.
Okay.
The workshop would be taking place in Tobago on May 25th from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the TITL Training Center. Again, in Tobago, May 25th from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the TITL Training Center. And to contact for registration, you could call or WhatsApp this number 398-6739. Again, 398-6739.
Okay, one last question I wanted to ask you, because the things you're talking about in the Level Up workshop, I'm assuming that as Anderson and Tobago, you would have been doing this with your clients as well.
That is correct.
So tell us, in your experience in Tobago, how much growth have you seen with your clientele being scaled and going from small to medium businesses?
Well, Mr. Bates could take it, because all our clients who work with us, we've applied these systems in place. And Mr. Bates have a favorite story with one of our clients who is right here in Tobago, in the same building, who able to take a vacation after 4 years working hard within the business, and after 1 year coming onto our service, they could have gone to Spain and travel the whole of Spain for at least a month without even worrying and focusing on the business processes and so on. Yeah?
So a lot of business owners, they tend to be tied or married to their business, can't really take vacations, and that is something that we advise our clients. Say, you want to pay yourself first, but also you want to reap the rewards of your labor now. So you should be able to take 2 to 3 weeks off from your business, and your business still run and be profitable with you being away. So we had one of our clients, she was married to a business, and within a couple of years in 2023, she was able to take a 2-week tour to Europe. And in 2024, she was able to do Asian tour with her family. So by having these systems in place, it gives you that leverage to enjoy the fruits of your labor. So we welcome the business owners here in Tobago. We invite them to invest in themselves and to level up their business.
All right, so before we go, thank you all very much for being here. But before we go, just give us one more pitch about the Level Up Business Workshop. Tell the public what the workshop is about. Quickly tell them what it's about, where they could find it, where it's taking place, the dates, the cost, everything.
Again, the cost, the investment is only $700, and in Tobago, it's on May 25th from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. And to contact for registration, it's 398-6739. 398-6739, and it will be at TITL Training Center in Tobago here.
Okay, that's up in Signal Hill.
That's correct.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you very much, Mr. Mikhail Baines and Mr. Kendall Robley, for being on with us and talking about the Level Up Business Workshop. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of our programming today, but before we go back to the photo of the day. And that photo is courtesy Rashid Zahir, and it is a photo of Fort Granby. Yes, it's a photo of Fort Granby, and it is by Rashid Zahir. So, viewers, thank you for spending the hour with us, but we have to go. But this is not the end of the programming. Up next, we have GMT with Candice Jackson. So do us a favor, share the live. We'll see you tomorrow.
Celebrating anniversaries is important to fostering connections and acknowledging growth and shared experiences, as well as setting a foundation for future goals and aspirations. Around the region, they are known as the leading disaster management agency, Here in Tobago, we call them TIMA, and they recently celebrated their 27th anniversary. One activity was a health and wellness day.
We are accustomed doing stuff like this with every institution that require our service. Here today, we are here to assist with the staff of TIMA in ensuring that they maintain their health and the importance of health, importance of knowing your numbers in terms of your blood pressure, your sugar, your weight, your BMI, to make sure it is in line with your height and your weight. The importance of checking your blood pressure is to ensure that you don't end up with stuff like a diagnosis with like heart attack or stroke. Also, that could also help us to send you also to the health center to do blood testing for stuff like your cholesterol and other blood work, so that we could determine if you are newly diagnosed or if you have been seen about your health. So we have the blood pressure testing, we have the sugar testing, we have the dietitians here who do your weight, your BMI, and tell you how much body fat there is. We also have dental here to take care of the mouth, which is also important because of the bacteria and stuff that can cause different diseases to your organs and stuff like that.
TIMA workers share their love, experiences, and appreciation for their job.
Today for the staff, we are having a health and wellness program to commemorate our 27th year anniversary here at TIMA.
I am the GIS specialist at TIMA, so that's the Geographic Information System person. We deal with mapping as well as evacuation routes, evacuation maps, data elevation models, risk assessments, etc. I'm also attached to the planning department, so we do a lot of analysis as well as gap analysis as well as reports. So we basically are the brains somewhat of the organization. For me, my time here during this period would have been very great for me. Would have been able to respond to the oil spill as well as Tropical Storm Karen as well as other emergencies. This would have given you a lot of knowledge as well as wisdom in terms of how natural disasters actually operate, because reading about it is one thing, but actually being able to assist persons as well as to respond to it is something different. So it comes like you learn the theory and then you have to do the practical aspect of it. Life here is really great. It's a family environment. Yes, we may have our disagreements, but it's a high pressure environment, but we always have the ability to bounce back from or whatever would have impacted us, and that shows a lot of resilience within the organization. So cheers to 27 years.
TIMA's mission is to coordinate a network of agencies and individuals within the island of Tobago to direct their efforts to maximize preservation of life and the protection of the property in times of disaster.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
Welcome to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates, your source for current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad, and the region. With the perfect conversations to complement your morning routine, I am Candace Jackson, and let's get started with the news in 90 seconds for Tuesday, 8th April 2025. Sandals Resorts International has agreed to reconsider investing in Tobago following a high-level meeting involving Prime Minister Stuart Young, Chief Secretary Fali Augustine, PDP political leader Watson Duke, Sandals Executive Chairman Azam Stewart, and other key stakeholders. Sandals presented potential opportunities, with all parties supported renewed engagement. Unlike the previous arrangements, Sandals is now willing to fund the hotel's construction itself. While the site and investment type are still undecided, Prime Minister Young assured that Tobagonians will be kept informed and involved. Discussions will continue after the April 28th general election, regardless of the outcome. Although Prime Minister Stuart Young has assured that both international and regional observers will oversee the April 28 general election, the UNC claims that so far only CARICOM has confirmed its attendance. Following a meeting with the Elections and Boundaries Commission, UNC candidate Saddam Hussein expressed concern about the lack of confirmation from other international bodies like the Commonwealth and the Carter Center. Just 3 weeks before the election, the UNC questioned CARICOM's impartiality and emphasized the importance of independent international scrutiny to protect public confidence in the electoral process. Meanwhile, the secondary entrance assessment exam is set for Thursday, April 10th. And the THA's Division of Education, Research and Technology is urging political parties and the public to observe a 24-hour quiet period from 3 p.m. on April 9th to 3 p.m. on April 10th on exam day. The request includes a pause on campaign activities such as motorcades, loudspeakers, and rallies to help Standard 5 students rest, revise, and stay focused. The tech also asks that noise levels remain low around schools all week, emphasizing the need to support students' well-being during this crucial time. And that was the news in 90 seconds. And viewers, before we get into our show this morning, let's just go for a quick break, and we'll see you in just a bit.
When the game is on, you don't want to miss the best moments. With AMPLIA TV, you can enjoy our ultimate sports package and watch your favorite games on the go. Stay connected and informed with sports news, scores, and stats with AMPLIA's fastest internet speeds. Up to 1 gigabyte fiber internet, you can stream riveting football action, cricket, NBA games, and much more. With AMPLIA, it's game on. Visit amplia.co.tt or call 800-4663. AMPLIA. Do more, live more.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Viewers, of course, you know it's a very heated time right now. We're in the midst of elections here in Trinidad and Tobago, and it's a tough battle. It seems to be an interesting battle, I should say, that's developing here in Tobago. And to give us a perspective and to help us understand what's happening on the ground with all the politics that are concerned, all the politicians that are putting themselves forward, we are being joined by political scientist, Professor Hamid Ghani. So special good morning and welcome to you, Professor. How are you doing this morning? Good morning. It seems as okay, he seems to not be hearing us this morning. So while our technicians get that sorted, hopefully very soon. But yes, we'll be chatting with Professor Hamid Ghani as we discuss what's been happening in the political space. As you know, in the West constituency, the Tobago West constituency, we have 9 people putting themselves forward, 8 belonging to parties and 1 independent. And in the East, we have 5 persons putting themselves forward. And it's an interesting time. I'm not sure if this is like the first time we've had such a large number of people. And of course, Professor Ghani would be able to give us a better perspective on that. And also, how would this affect, I mean, for instance, the PNM's chances, the TPP chances, they are the larger parties in this race as to whether or not they'll be able to pull enough votes. Will the proliferation of candidates split votes? How will it work? And then what does this say for our democracy here in Tobago, that we are able to have a small island, yet so many people that are interested in becoming a representative and making a difference politically for the people of Tobago? And so I think we're getting ready to go back to Professor Ghani. So good morning and welcome to you, Professor. Can you hear me now?
Good morning.
Oh, that's
yes,
so great to hear you. All right, so getting straight on into it, Professor, we seem to have an interesting battle forming here in Tobago. We have 9 people putting themselves forward in the Tobago West seat and 5 in the Tobago East seat. What's your perspective, especially on the West battle? First of all, is this the first time we've had this many candidates putting themselves forward for an election in any constituency anywhere in the country?
No, we've had large numbers before. The 1976 general election was one that had extremely large numbers of candidates, and it's not the first time, so that it will be interesting to see how it goes. But usually these things tend to shake down to a contest largely between two major parties, or 3 at the most if there's going to be a real split.
Certainly. And so now, of course, we're seeing that happening here, especially in Tobago West. Now, for your perspective, how do you feel this election is going to go in the Tobago West? How does 9 candidates putting themselves forward affect the chances of the PNM's incumbent Chapaka Joe Lewis returning for a 3rd time in office?
Well, I think that the key issue here will be the contest between the PNM and the TPP, and we have to see methodologically whether the PDP votes of the 2 THA elections in 2021, if those voters stay with the PDP or if they have diverted over to the TPP. That is going to be the interesting thing to look at. The PNM has to regain votes because between the August 2020 general election, when they won Tobago West, what had happened is that we saw some of the polling divisions. When you go inside of the numbers on the individual polling divisions, we saw that the PNM vote had collapsed. The collapse started in January of 2021, and the collapse was cemented in December of 2021. But then after that, in 2022, you had the 13 members of the THA declaring themselves independent of the PDP. And by August of 2023, the TPP was born as an official political party. So how the voters will handle this in terms of how they shuffle their votes If it is that they move from PDP to TPP, we'll see. If they decide to stay with PDP, we'll see. And the PNM will have to regain votes. Regardless of what happens, the PNM has to regain votes to become competitive.
Okay, so there seems to be a little bit of a transmission problem on our end. Professor?
I'm hearing you.
Can we still hear the professor?
I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you.
It seems to have a little technical issue, so I think we should be going for a break and come back in just a bit, and hopefully we return with Professor Ghani as we get this sorted.
Yeah! Tobago, get ready. Stephen Marley is on his way.
From jungle to Rima, me. Tifa little matches, you.
The Rhythm and Soul Festival introduces the son of the legend, the one and only Stephen Marley. Experience the Marley Dynasty live at the Dwight York Stadium at Fusion, Easter Sunday, April 20th. The Kings reunite on one stage. Stephen Marley.
Yeah, baby, don't
Graham Smogan.
Have I shown you?
Wayne Wonder.
Somebody, she is a beauty.
Cats the Band, and many more.
This song she made. Girl, coming home, I see you again.
Tickets are going fast. Follow Tobago Festivals on Facebook and Instagram. Or call 639-4441 for more info. Fusion, April 20th at Parade Grounds, Dwight York Stadium. The Tobago Rhythm and Soul Festival. Feel the beat. Embrace the calm.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates, viewers. We just want to apologize for the break in transmission there, but we are back on with Professor Hamid Ghani as we discuss what's been happening on the ground here in Tobago. And just before we had a little break, Professor Ghani was just giving us his perspective on what's been happening in the west, and the chances of the PNM returning for a third time consecutively. So we also see in the East now, we have 5 parties putting themselves forward. And, there always is a stronger battle in the East. Even when you look at the statistics from the previous elections, the race was closer in the East than it was in the West. Do you see a shift changing in the East? Will the East continue to belong to the PNM?
Well, the Tobago East has tended to be somewhat more competitive for parties contesting against the PNM. So I think the PNM are very well aware that the Tobago East is the weaker of the two when they look at the historical data. And I think that when we look at what happened in the 2 THA elections in 2021, you had a situation in which a number of polling divisions, when you examine them, you realize that the PNM lost considerable support and the PDP gained considerable support in those 2. Again, the methodological challenge is whether the PDP voters of 2021 shift now to the TPP or whether they stay with the PDP, and that is going to be the interesting dimension in all of this to observe, because statistically that's the data that we have in front of us. We can't predict the future just yet, so that there may be other parties in the race who may argue that they have a right to be considered as well, and yes, they do have the right to be considered. But the data that we're working with in terms of past performance is the real issue: is does the PDP vote stay PDP or does the PDP vote go TPP? That's a big issue, and does the PNM regain support that it had lost in 2021?
Now, from where you sit and just assessing the situation and even the changes that has happened politically over the past 3 years, and I'm speaking here of the PDP splitting and the TPP being born out of that. How strong do you see the TPP being in this race, and then how much do you think the PDP, as it is right now, can affect the TPP's chances?
Well, it's difficult to be able to make a quantitative assessment, but qualitatively, some of the things you look for are that you look at meetings, you look at the level of excitement in meetings, you look at turnout for meetings, you look at the enthusiasm level. These are things that qualitative factors that you would look at to try to assess what is going on. The level of energy in a campaign obviously will show itself among people who are very excited to participate. And, you have traditional things of meetings and motorcades and these kinds of things, walkabouts and so on. So that as from a qualitative standpoint, you can look at the excitement levels with regard to all of this. What I would suggest, however, is that one does not get seduced by the level of crowd participation and so on, because crowds don't win elections. So that it's important to look at that. But in the build up to the election, you certainly need to have a look and see, who's walking around with whom, and what's the level of excitement, what's going on, where they're having meetings. Sometimes you have a spot meeting, sometimes you have a pre-advertised meeting, sometimes you have a motorcade, sometimes you say out in advance, well, we're walking in this area, we're walking in that area. And you try to observe the level of excitement from people who are coming out of their homes and wherever else to come and greet candidates and motorcades and various other things, so that all of these constitute the excitement of an election campaign. But I would certainly suggest that the only thing we have right now is data from the past, and the only thing we can look at right now is enthusiasm and excitement in the present.
Certainly. And when you also look at just the importance of the Tobago seats, because for Tobagonians, the elections is a little bit different than in Trinidad. For instance, we have the UNC choosing not to participate in Tobago. So leaving the only road to governance only road to essentially electing a prime minister through the PNM. And then there's also the philosophy that's been around, and it's being purported from several different political parties, that the 2 Tobago seats are important to be used as a bargaining chip for to allow Tobago to get what it wants. What is your perspective on this? And then from where you sit as well, how do you view Tobago seats, and how do you view the importance or the purpose of the votes in the general election context?
Well, if it's a tight election in Trinidad, Tobago becomes the whole election. That basically is what it comes down to at the end of the day. And the reality is that the seats in Tobago, the UNC have taken the decision not to contest, and their view is that they will let the Tobago electorate decide for Tobago. The UNC is contesting 39 in Trinidad. The PNM is contesting 41. And then the Patriotic Front has 37 candidates, and they have 2 in Tobago and 35 in Trinidad. But I think that, at the end of the day, the markers that become important, if you have a 1920 situation in Trinidad, which you had in the last general election, then the 2 seats in Tobago become absolutely important. There is a view that if the TPP were to win 2 seats in Tobago, that they would want to enter into some kind of coalition. And I think that it's not necessary for the TPP to enter into a coalition with anybody. They may have a stronger position to negotiate for Tobago if they were to stand to the side, because they would effectively be controlling the system. I saw that in one newspaper report last week, where Gary Griffith, who's contesting 17 seats in Trinidad for the NTA, was saying that, he wants to become the kingmaker. He's hoping for a 2020 outcome, and he will be the 1 seat he's hoping that he would win in St. Joseph when he becomes the kingmaker. But becoming a kingmaker is one aspect of this. The other is demanding things for the country and for your island. In the case of of Tobago, is something else. And, in 1993, December of 1993, you had an outcome in St. Kitts Nevis where there was a even split in St. Kitts, 4 seats and 4 seats of the 8 seats there. And in Nevis, you had 3 seats. 2 went to the Concerned Citizens Movement and 1 went to the Nevis Reformation Party. And the Concerned Citizens Movement in Nevis was the party that could break the tie. And they took the position and told their Governor General that they did not want to be associated with any of the parties in Trinidad, and that they would stay out and would negotiate for Nevis, so that there is another model. I mean, everyone, I think, goes to the conventional model that you go into a coalition because you want to seek high office and have some influence. But just remember that when you do go into a coalition government, the doctrine of collective responsibility attaches to you, and you become responsible together with the others in Trinidad for what's going on in Trinidad. You become collectively responsible for all of that as well. So that I think that, it's something that they may want to consider, whether they want to get into that or whether they want to articulate Tobago issues for Tobago. Now, of course, if the PNM wins, they'll be part of the government because the PNM is contesting in Trinidad and in Tobago. So you have a nationalist perspective that runs along a particular pathway with forming a government and being part of a national government. And then there is the Tobago nationalist perspective, which is that, is Tobago going to get the best deal out of being part of a government together with entities in Trinidad, or will Tobago get a better deal if it is able to direct the show from the sidelines and say, we want this, we want that, and we want the other, and they are in a position to make those kinds of demands. So it all depends on what the electorate will do, but it's 2 completely different electorates, and this is what has to be understood. The electorate in Trinidad is one creature. The electorate in Tobago is a completely different one, and I think that there are many persons in Trinidad who do not quite appreciate the niceties and the substantial differences alongside those niceties of the nature of the Tobago electorate and what messages they want to hear in a general election. And I think that is an important dimension and has been highlighted and has become even more so since the 2021 THA elections, the 2 elections of January and December of 2021.
And certainly, and I mean, and as to that point now, with that in mind, do you think that Tobago Tobago seat should stand on its own, away from any major political parties in Trinidad, or should it be part of a party that is a national party?
Well, that is a matter that the electorate is going to decide. As regards what politicians may do after getting elected, is really beyond what the analysts can speculate. But I think that one has to listen to the messages on the campaign trail. What are the messages that are being delivered to the electorate as regards what the future would hold in terms of participation? So yes, it is a national election. It is a national election with 39 seats in Trinidad and 2 seats in Tobago. And Tobago can get swallowed, as may have happened in the past, as part of a wider collection of seats to form a national government. Or Tobago can make the difference, as may have happened in 1995, when the outcome in Trinidad was 17-17 and 2 seats in Tobago, and Tobago made the difference in that kind of situation. But if you get like a 33-3 then of 1986, then Tobago just fits in with the larger scheme of things, and therefore you have 2 different models available. But I think that the formation, excuse me, and development of the Tobago House of Assembly and the further demands for autonomy will make the need for Tobago's involvement in Trinidad politics more diminished, and a greater focus on Tobago politics and what it needs more important.
Now, as said earlier in our interview, now we have so much interest right now in people wanting to represent the either Tobago East or Tobago West at the government level. What does that say for our democracy here in Tobago? What signal is that sending?
A very healthy democracy in Tobago. There is a lot of interest in participating in elections, which is, of course, a very healthy sign. The issue of the Tobago House of Assembly is basically, that is Tobago's parliament. I mean, for a lot of people in Tobago who are part of Trinidad and Tobago, the Tobago House of Assembly is a vitally important institution, which has a long history that will take it back into the 18th century. But the reality is that it was suspended in terms of its operation in the 19th century and then didn't reemerge until 1980. And since 1980, it has grown over the years. In 1996, there was further reform. The democracy is very healthy and very alive in Tobago, and the contestation for power is something that always attracts the attention of Tobagonians, and they do participate in a very active and healthy way in the process. But the Tobago House of Assembly is their institution. It belongs to them. They're proud of it, and they want to be able to give it more powers. And the manner in which more powers are given to it is a function of the political process. It's a function of negotiations. It's a function of depending on the national parliament in Port of Spain to make a final determination. And that is what makes these elections so important, because the future of autonomy in Tobago, that whole debate, and enhancing the powers of the Tobago House of Assembly, and even the creation of a Tobago Island government, is something that comes out of the current electoral process. So that you're going to have an election at the end of April in Tobago to choose two seats to sit among 39 others in the national parliament. But bear in mind that by December this year, January 2026, you're going to have a Tobago House of Assembly election. So a number of things are going on in the policy space, one of which, of course, is the return of the Sandals chain to reopen a second round of negotiations. But Sandals is already saying we want to come on different terms. Mm-hmm. That in itself is a very significant statement, because it concedes that the first time around was a very different model, where the taxpayer had a certain role to play in the development of the project. This time around, what I'm hearing and what I'm reading is that Sandals is prepared to come with their money up front. And I think the Chief Secretary put it out yesterday that they're prepared to look at the proposal. They're not approving anything just yet. Just look at the proposal to see what Sandals is actually offering. But starting the conversation in a general election, it will continue into a THA election. And it is quite possible that this becomes one of the hot items on the THA campaign trail, depending on what kind of model Sandals puts before the central government and the Tobago House of Assembly.
All right, great. I want to thank you so much, Professor Ghani, for giving us your perspective on what's been happening here on the ground politically in Tobago. We always appreciate your input. So thank you again for joining us. And viewers, we've got to go for a break, but we'll be back right after this.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning.
Welcome to the Buku Seafood and Jazz Festival on April 19th, 2025. We invite you to an evening of smooth rhythms and soulful music as the sun dips behind Buku Bay. Let all your senses be tantalized. Enjoy an array of seafood dishes, browse crafts and designs created by local artisans, and lose yourself in the soulful melodies of John Sakata, Brian McKnight,
It's undeniable that we should be together.
Bonnet Bigford,
When the lightning crack the waters and the waves roll and break.
Mikal Tasia,
Where else I go, without you, my
and the Best of Tobago's talent. Get your physical tickets now. Tickets are also available online at islandetickets.com. Visit TobagoFestivalsCommission.com for more info or call 639-4441. The Buku Seafood and Jazz Festival, April 19th at Buku Integrated Facility. Tobago Rhythm and Soul Festival 2025. Feel the beat. Embrace the calm.
Want to get better? Where to start? What kind of exercise to do? What to eat? How to get restful sleep? Need a doctor to search for root cause? Look no further. Come to Majuba Hill Lifestyle Center Foundation at our Wellness Center in Goodwood, or Food Hub in Darrow Springs, Scarborough, or Doctor's Office in Goodwood and Darrow Spring. Contact 49 Swift 4979 438.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
Rotisserie, mouth-watering fries, salads, combos, and specials galore. Feeling for something to eat? Come and see. Our rotisserie is seasoned to the T. Kicking chicken, masala, and jerk roast. Crispy fries made from scratch. Who do you know can beat that? Or salads freshly cut and packed. When you taste it, you'll be wanting to come back. So come check us out on number 2 Robinson Street, Uptown Scarborough, Tobago. We open on Saturday nights from 7:30 to 11:30 p.m. Monday to Thursday, we're open from 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. and on Friday, 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Contact us at 772-7443 and all social media handles at The Rotisserie Factory.
So guys, there are some new developments in housing in Tobago. So it's goat racing time. This is 116, the show that keeps you in the know with all things Tobago House of Assembly. Each week, 116 delivers a fun and engaging overview of the latest developments, achievements, activities, and events of our dynamic assembly. So join me. Let's dive into the Tobago House of Assembly's Week in Review right here on 116.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
Good morning, morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile on your
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up and look, 'cause this is your show. And everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up and look. This is your show. And everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
It's a different type of thing down there. Man, we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO, and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
best place to stay in Tobago is at Thorns Place, with rates starting as low as 200 TT. Call or WhatsApp 745-7306 or 682-8676. We are located uptown Scarborough, 5 minutes away from the port. Remember, at Thorns Place, our aim is to make your stay safe and affordable.
Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Viewers, now we are getting into some conversations with one of our friendly utilities, and that's WASA. So we are being joined by the Director of Management for the Tobago District, Mr. Brian Williams. We are also being joined by the Assistant Director for Plant Sourcing and Distribution, Mr. Colin Orr, and finally, we are being joined by the Personal Manager, HR and Administration Support, Ms. Giselle Webster. So good morning and welcome to all three of you, and thank you for being here with us.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
All right, great. So now we are in the dry season, and as you would know, I mean, even though today and yesterday, the last couple of days, we had a little bit of rain, but before that, we've had quite a lot of sun. And even though we had a bit of a rain, it's not enough to make sure that we have our full normal level of supply. So first of all, let me get into, what's our level, the water level capacity at the Hillsborough Dam, at Corland, and all these other surface water areas in Tobago. Mr. Brian Williams.
Pleasant good morning, Candice. Pleasant good morning to Tobago, Trinidad and Tobago, and the wider viewing public. Thank you for having us. And let me just take a little liberty before jumping into the very pointed question to just sensitize everybody to the need in the times that we are now experiencing to conserve the resource and our access and our utilization. Conservation here in this context is widely includes repairing all those unlocked leaks, your leaking water mains, your dripping faucets, to ensure that as an organization and as a people, we can work together to get the resource to as much of the population as we can during these trying times, because these are trying times. Good morning again. Thank you for having me. We are, generally speaking, in the middle of a rough dry season. We have, as Candice, as you alluded to, had some showers, but they have not made any significant dent in our surface and groundwater sources. At present, Hillsborough Dam is above the long-term average, which is we are not in as bad a position as maybe other parts of the country and the world. But the challenge is that the flows at all those other surface sources are below where they are at this time of year. In having the discussion, we must mention all the climatic changes that are associated with
Certainly.
what is happening. What that has done for us as an organization is that it has put a spoke in the wheel of the planning process using historical data. In the past, we could have looked back and said, these are the trends that's happened over the trends that obtained over the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years. But in the last few years, we have been seeing an uptick of difference. The flows in the river, the traditional sources, the Courland water treatment plant, the Courland River, on which the Courland water treatment plant is, the Richmond River, Hillsborough West River, the flows are all way below what they usually are this time of the year. Our production capacity has fallen because of the unavailability of the resource. In Tobago, we do 12 million gallons on average, produce on average 12 million gallons of water per day. This is roughly split 50-50 between surface sources and groundwater sources wells. The wells traditionally they hold their end, but as the dry season progresses, the flows in the rivers, they fall, and they are falling at a rate. What I will do at this point, I have Mr. Colin Orr, who has direct responsibility for the management of these sources and the abstraction and delivery to customer. I'll have him just come on and give you some insight, some context into where we are at this point.
And just before we get into that, so is it that we are going to be seeing a change in the water supply as to how much water is available and how often during the week and so on that customers can expect? Mr. Orr?
Yes, there will be a change in the supply that the customers are usually accustomed to. Reason being, as I said before, we do not have the quantity or the volume of resource that we usually have. For instance, the total production in Tobago has fallen off by about 7%. Now 7% would sound small, but that is to the tune of 100,000 meter cube of water. Right? That's a lot of shortfall. So, as such, we are forced to revise the regular water schedule to allow for a more even distribution, so everybody, every person, every household can have access to the necessary water required for their day-to-day living.
Okay, so what's the new schedule going to look like? How often can people expect water in their pipes daily or weekly?
All right. Because of the times that we find ourselves operating in, where the rate of change of the availability of resource is so high and unreliable in terms of from a planning standpoint, we have, and we, as recently as yesterday, we have revised the water supply schedules to better reflect what we are able to deliver at this point. This will be, it was revised in January, and we had cause to revise it again by virtue of the changing supplies at sources. This exercise will be done as and when, and it will be communicated to the public through our Ms. Webster and our other corporate communication interfaces to ensure that the public is aware. At this time, what we have found and what we're trying to accentuate is that there is a need for honest, open, transparent, two-way communication. to ensure that all the information is received by the customer and the necessary feedback that is required to keep us as an organization, as a water management district honest, is done. So to that end, we have revised our corporate communication schedule, well, the outreach for the period, and when Ms. Webster takes the floor, she will spend some time. She's our resident corporate communications expert. So she will, at that time, tell you what is happening. But yes, the schedules have been revised, and they will be once the trend continues either downward or hopefully upward. So once there is a change, we try to get it to the customers, get it to the public, have our people on the ground doing the necessary legwork with our technical officers, the turncocks, the customer response unit, interacting with the public to ensure that we have a measure of the successes of associated failures so that we can proactively begin to address them before, so the customer can say, hey, Wasa, you sent water for me last night and I didn't get. So by the time they pick up the phone to call us, we are attempting to get to that place where Mr. John Smith at the top of Riceland Trace, we recognize that our schedule was run last night and you wouldn't given the supply in the measure that we would have forecasted it in our schedules. And as such, we are reaching out to find out if it is that you need a truck-borne supply to keep you until our next Schedule D, which is as per the schedule.
Yes, and certainly, and of course, as you mentioned, the truck-borne water supply and so on. I want to get to Ms. Webster and to tell us a little bit about just the modes of communication, what has been improved to ensure that when customers have issues, whether it is to find out their schedule, whether it is that they need an additional truck-borne water supply to supplement their shortfall, what is now in place for the customers and how can they get in touch with WASA when they have an issue?
Right. Thank you, Candice, and thank you for having me. One of the means that we utilize right now is the call center. Our numbers are 639-6850, 639-6853, or 639-WASA-9272. If you are not getting it, you can also go on our app, which we are updating at this time. We also have the website element. And you can also use your friendly WASA employee as well to provide or share that information. We share information via unplanned and planned disruption on our social media platform. And we also have the customer response unit, as Mr. Williams will have indicated earlier. They will be on the ground working alongside the technical officers and the operation team to provide information right away so that the customer response unit should be able to provide that information, filter it to the water trucking service so that you have that information being filtered and correctly addressed to the customer.
All right, so Mr. Williams, now of course we know that there's going to be a change in the water supply, and if you would like to know, of course, viewers, you just heard from Ms. Webster where you can go to find the information as to what schedule your area will be on. But Mr. Williams, I would like you to tell us, what informs, how does WASA make the determination as to how much water a specific area gets?
All right. We have WASA in the past. We have a lot of historical data in terms of the number of customers, the location of the customers, and exactly the level of supply that they get based on the operations that you run in any given time. In the discourse earlier, I would have said that the climatic conditions have affected a lot of things, especially from the source end, where we had to be recalibrating and sorting the information. But in the first pass, some of the things remain constant. Our supply schedules are developed based on the historical need, and the people on the ground, the technical officers, the systems people, the network optimization people, the customer response unit, they monitor the schedules so that we have a real-time information as to how successful, how much of a failure the schedules. So for example, the schedules were modified in January. But based on the challenges that we are seeing with the dwindling resource on the outside, a decision was taken that the schedules in their existing form are not able to maintain the levels of services that we have committed to the customer. As such, they have been revisited. So it's a big feedback loop that is driven by, first and foremost, collecting data associated with an existing schedule, utilizing that data to, one, provide for chalkborne supply or an alternative means of supply to the customers who didn't get, or two, you closing the loop saying, yes, these customers were satisfied, they have been satisfied. And this all forms the basis of the management information, the collection process by which the schedules are modified to speak to what we can deliver at this point where the flows are down.
And of course, as soon as, we have the wet season there and then our surface water levels return, then we can see a return to the normal supply of water.
Well, hopefully, we are attempting to always be better than we were at the same point the last time. And let me give you some examples. The last couple of years, I spent some time with you over the last dry season and the dry season before that. Even the one before that, where we were having a myriad of problems in Southwest Tobago. There is a wells development program, which we spent some time, we focused on Tobago, focused on some of the needs, did a needs assessment, and enlarged the challenges that existed during the festive and the heavy occupancy periods in Tobago, especially in Southwest, have diminished to the point where they are no longer a challenge that they were a couple of years ago. I say this to say that what we are attempting to do is to sustainably improve the way and the delivery of the service to a point where we could go to sleep and know for a fact that we have water, so that when they turn on the tap and we are working towards a continuous supply for everybody. So when they turn on your pipe and they don't have water, that would be the exception, rather than, oh, today is not my schedule. So the organization, in the first part, yes, to answer your question, we are, and the modification of the schedules will involve and include the periods when the supply improves, not just when it falls away, but when the rains come and the flows step to go back to where they were, or even better, we as an organization, as a water management district, will ensure that we provide the necessary information to the customers. The rains are here, the schedules will be back to where they were, and we publish them, and we still monitor, manage, maintain with the expectation that you, the customer, will provide all the necessary feedback that we require to want to make sure that the level of service that we deliver is in keeping with our mandate, and that you are informed and satisfied. I hope that answers the question.
Yes. And Mr. O, what can you tell us about just how things have changed in the last few years in terms of the weather and its effect on the water supply, and even what's being predicted for this year in terms of how long can we expect this dry spell to last, and how long before we can expect our water sources to be up to a relatively normal level?
Well, traditionally the dry season usually runs from January to June. But in recent years, over the past 5 years or so, we have seen so many different variations in that pattern. Sometimes it went shorter, but for the most times it ran a bit longer. So even August up to September, we were still experiencing dry spells. So with the data we have presently, it's very difficult to predict the change in trends. However, generally we have seen a decline in the availability of water. So to say that we're having less rain. Right? So it's very, very difficult to predict at this moment. Probably in the next 10 years or so, when we gather more data, we'll be more able to make more accurate predictions.
And Ms. Webster, have you seen or have you heard what's the level of complaints that we've gotten from the public in terms of, how many people do we see on an average getting to that point where they do need additional supply, or they're reaching out saying that, there are problems in their area for water?
Right, so most times we have that where we have planned and unplanned planned and unplanned disruptions. And what we do, we have the operations team as well as the water trucking sections on standby to provide that necessary support, and also using back the same customer response using to provide feedback to ensure that customers do in fact receive the supply via the water trucking. And when the supply is resumed, we also make contacts with the relevant customers as well.
All right, great. So, WASA has you covered in essence, despite the challenges with water and so on. But Mr. Williams, I want to also to talk about conservation efforts from our part as customers, because we have to be very mindful that we're not in a period of abundant water, and water is a precious resource, and we need to be very mindful in the way that we use it. What are some tips that our customers should be aware of during this period to ensure that we have a better supply of water for all?
There are some things that stick out. This is Mr. Webster's area of 40, but notwithstanding, I will try to do it some justice, and I'm sure that she will provide the filler as and when once I do fall short. But she grilled me very extensively. We had a session in the office last night. So getting to the meat of the matter, the biggest concern in terms of the customer support in conservation to me has been and continues to be overflowing tanks. Even now, you see the tanks, the people take out the ball valves, they give you advanced all kind of arguments. Well, it's full fast. The point is, it causes a challenge on a number of fronts. So let me just stay with that for 2 minutes and articulate exactly where the challenges are. The first challenge is that the overflow wastewater on the customer side. The second, and maybe just as relevant and more neighborhood than the first, is that because of the terrain and how Tobago is geographically undulating, mountainous, the challenge with an overflowing tank in an area that is undulating is that once the customers low down have overflowing tanks and leaking faucets and those kinds of things, it prevents the system pressure from developing to that place, to that point where the water can climb to the customers that are higher. So I started there so that you understand that your actions or inactions in dealing with an overflowing tank not only affects our ability to provide water to you and to Tobago at large, it prevents your neighbors who are high up the street from developing the pressures and the flows that they need to access the resource. All right? That's the first thing. The need for management of how we operate in terms of, there are things we have to do. We have to wet our kitchen garden, we have to wash our plants, wash our clothes, have showers. But I think it requires that we look internally at some of these processes. For example, doing your garden, wetting with a bucket instead of a hose. Using a bucket instead of a hose to wash down the 4 family cars. It's important that the little things, because it's a cumulative kind of effect where once the number of people who are attempting to be different reaches and surpasses the critical mass, the benefit is for all of us as a people. So I just want to spend, matter of fact, Ms. Webster, a little later in her submission, will speak to you about our conservation theme, but I would just like to preface it by saying it is important that we look inward and deal with the things that represent wastage and by association unavailability to someone else or even to you as a customer when the water goes. Finally, as far as that goes, I want to just say, and I'll give you an example to speak to what I'm saying. A lady came into my office maybe about 2 weeks ago, an elderly lady, and she said, well, Mr. Williams, I have a little problem. My galvanized line in there leaking, and I just feel so badly that, and we, in attempting to be responsible corporate citizens and all the other good stuff, we would have dispatched some people from the inside to provide some support to her in getting the line repaired. It is not a service that as an organization we provide, but we are committed to, wherever possible, working with customers to ensure that any support that we can provide that doesn't hamper or hinder or daily operations, which are geared at making the service better, we try to provide that level of support. Right?
All right. And Ms. Webster, give us an idea of some of the other things that customers need to be aware of during this dry season.
Right. So the theme for this year is Conserve Today, Secure Tomorrow. And that in itself basically gives us an idea that we have to conserve at home and at work and at school. So we usually share this message with our children when we do our school outreaches and our community outreaches. If you wet your lawn or you use your vehicle, you use a bucket instead of a hose, that basically wastes at least 15 to 20 gallons of water. That can basically, you can basically have a shower for 4 or 5 persons. So always have that mindset in mind, as Mr. Williams would have indicated, that is accumulative over time. You have the tanks, overflowing tanks. That is 15 to 20 gallons of water where you have wastage happening. So we try to provide practical ways that you waste water and basically share that information. You will need about 5 to 7 gallons of water roughly to have a shower. And when you think about the wastage by using those other initiatives or those other activities like the washing of the car with the hose, have your leaking faucets, think about how it impacts your household and also how it impacts your neighborhood as well. And we also encourage persons to report leaks as well. Reporting leaks help us as we do the weed conservation business.
All right, great. So now I guess we're getting ready to wrap this morning. But before we go, is there anything else that you would like the public to know from any one of you three before we go this morning?
I just want to close by saying to you that as an organization, we would have beaten the conservation aspect of it pretty heavily, pretty badly. And I just wanted to share in closing some of the initiatives that we have embarked on in terms of sustainably increasing and improving the levels of service to us, the residents of Tobago. There are a number of initiatives. As you are aware, we would have done a sub-turning in the Goldsboro water treatment plant, which should provide 2 million gallons of water. That's to the public. That process the construction is officially expected to begin mid-April. We're starting at the intake because strategically the flows are down, etc., etc. So it's easier to work in the river at those times. But the project is slated to take around for 18 months, and the construction of the plant itself will commence shortly after, and it is expected to come in within time, within cost, within budget, within quality. The second initiative that we have is that we are actively pursuing a wells development program across Trinidad and Tobago. And as recently as the weekend before the last, people from the organization at that level down in Trinidad were here looking at the possibilities of the expansion of the wells development program. Additionally, there is discussions with a view to have desalination introduced into Tobago, where at Charlottesville, as an example, there is an intention and an expectation for the development of a desalination plant to provide additional relief to Charlottesville on a sustainable basis to allow them to head towards no water being a thing of the past. All right? In terms of or leakage and all this, so we have an aggressive leak repair and road restoration program to ensure that we keep the leaks off of the road, and so we have more water to get to your houses, and at the same time ensuring that the quality of the work is such a way your driving experience is not affected by us digging up the roads. Finally, we are working to ensure the the reliability and the optimization of our production sources. So we are doing work at the Hillsborough Dam, the Corland water treatment plants, the various wells we have to ensure that they are operating within within the design parameters to ensure that we optimize their operation, and by in so doing, ensuring that we optimize the available water that these things can produce in getting them to you, the customer. And I don't want to belabor the issue, but remember that we have, as an organization, as a people, as citizens of the Republic, as citizens of Tobago, to continue working together to ensure that we conserve today so that we have some for tomorrow. Thank you.
Certainly. And, before we go, I just want to get from Ms. Webster just how you can get in contact with WASA if you have questions as to what your change in schedule is, as if you must want to get some additional truck-borne supply of water. So, Ms. Webster, just remind our viewers of how they can get that information.
Sure, thank you. You can call 639-6850, 639-6853, 639-9272. That's WASA. And we also encourage that you update your customer service accounts and give us your email so that we can provide that information for you as well. It's also on our social media web pages, which is Facebook and Instagram. And we also have our website as well, where you can get your updates, planned interruptions, unplanned interruptions.
All right, great. So viewers, there you have it, all the information you need so that you could stay on top of the game. And then you also know how to adjust yourself to ensure that you could have a continuous supply of water to make sure when you could get your tanks filled and all that sort of thing. But most importantly, you need to conserve water as much as possible. We are in a dry season, and it's just the nature of the world that we live in right now. We can't change things, but we can adjust to ensure that we can still live comfortably. So I want to thank you to the team from WASA, Mr. Williams, Mr. On, Ms. Webster, for being on with us. And viewers, I hope you have a safe and wonderful day, and we will see you again tomorrow.
To a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks a favor to wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000 people